Welcome back, everyone, to Championship Weekend here in the LCS Summer Finals. It is my pleasure to introduce the 2017 Summer Split MVP. Give it up for TSM Bjorksen!
The fight continues on the backside. Smoothie forced to run away. They're going for the steal. And it gets picked up by Bjorksen. The Rek'Sai getting another form of Smoothie forced to run away, but the damage not coming across the... Oh, nice! Assassinated. Void on Void crime.
Jump over the wall. Has kill number one. Looking to make it two. Finds the kill into Piglet. Matt's going to be going down next. A double kill for Bjorg.
Well, Bjorksen, first of all, congratulations once again. This belongs to you. I have to ask you, though, this was probably the toughest split of the NALCS we have ever seen. Were you surprised to win the award, given the level of competition?
Definitely surprised. There was a lot of competitors that could have taken it. I think Ole, Jensen, Xmithy, all these players come to mind that I actually thought was going to win it. I didn't think I was going to win it, so I was just told like 1 minute ago. I was really surprised, and now I'm on stage, and it's just really awesome, really overwhelming, but I love it. Thank you, guys.
And at this point, you are the most decorated player in the NALCS, multiple MVP winner, tied for the most championships currently. At what point do we have to stop giving you awards for you to say, okay, I am now the best player in the North American LCS?
Once I get the World Cup, I think I'll be satisfied. But until then, I'm going to keep pushing myself, pushing my team to hopefully get more MVP awards, get more championships, and that's what my eyes are looking to, Worlds.
And then, of course, there is business to deal with tomorrow. Both teams have the chance to make history. TSM could be the first team to ever win 3 in a row, and you would have 5 championship trophies, the most of any player ever. What does that sort of history mean to you?
It means a lot. Just coming into TSM has always been the winning team, and it was always important for me to continue that. When the fans think about TSM, they think about TSM as, oh, that's the best team. That's the team that wins the most in North America, and hopefully soon outside the world. So it's a big legacy for me to carry on, and I hope I can do that tomorrow.
Well, congratulations once again, Bjorksen. Thank you very much for the interview, but we are going to throw it back to the casters.
Welcome back to the TD Garden for Game 2 of CLG versus Team Dignitas. Team Dignitas have chosen red side this time around, and they need to make some other changes if they want to come back against CLG's impressive performance.
Yeah, the first thing that actually comes to my mind is that this is already looking like the other playoff series where it's been about jungle takeover. It's not necessarily getting bullying lanes and then camping your bullying lane. It's the bullying lane helping the jungler go for invades and actually taking over a lot of those neutral camps. So maybe they'll make some adjustments there, both in Champ Select as well as on the field.
You know, we were talking a lot about how good the bottom lane from Dignitas have been doing in playoffs and in Summer Split since they got together on this team. But this past game, it was the bottom lane from CLG, the bottom lane that had been slipping a little bit in their previous playoff matches, that really stepped up.
Yeah, they were very successful. This is actually the first time that they were up CS at 15 minutes, so that certainly boded well for them. The fact that Omar God was successful boded very well for them because their solo laners were already on point earlier in the playoffs and were on point again here today.
And you know, at the beginning of the last draft, we saw Dignitas focus Huhi very specifically with Aurelion Sol and Vel'Koz bans. You're seeing the Aurelion Sol ban again this time around. Will they continue to go with that strategy? Will they adopt something a bit more general? We'll have to see here as Maokai, Cassio, and Thresh are banned away by CLG. Dig taking Kog, Kalista, and Aurelion off the table, really respecting what Stixxay did in the last game.
And this could mean we may simply see a run back of the first pick from last time. Wow, actually not expecting that at all. Omar God going for the Zac.
Okay, so this is going to be one that if it, again, is an aggressive jungler for Team Dignitas, your immediate game plan heading into Summoner's Rift is how do we protect the Zac early game? Allow him some levels, allow him some camps to try and farm.
Because even back to their first playoff series against Envy, they were actually abused on this pick, and they gave up picking the Zac because every single time they picked it, Envy's bottom lane would invade, their mid lane would collapse. They would abuse Oh My God in the jungle, and they would put him behind. So CLG going back to this either says, hey, Dignitas can't pull off the same strategy, or we have improved our own.
And it says that they also are confident in their rookie player. He didn't seem to get too shaken on the stage in game number 1.
Except his drink.
Except his drink. That was definitely shaken and spilled. We have the same bottom lane that CLG ran continuously every single game versus Immortals here. This has huge playmaking potential, but they weren't able to find success previously in the playoffs.
It is a little bit surprising, though, even with their attention on the Zac and feeling like they have the confidence in Oh My God to play it again, I don't feel like Zac is a pick that Shrimp necessarily would have taken away. It's something that you have to feel like maybe you could have got later in the draft. Maybe you could actually grab up a more contested pick, such as the Jarvan, for your first round pick. Like, that's a little bit questionable to me from CLG.
Well, both teams have drafted their bottom lanes in this first part of the picking phase. You can see the Zion Rakan, like you guys mentioned, for CLG. Dignitas going with the Tristana that they had in game number 1, but pulling the Janna in as the support for that here in game number 2. Bans coming across in the second phase. Renekton banned out by Dig. Counterlogic Gaming responding by banning away Cho'Gath.
All right, we get to see some classic Adrian Janna play here.
The Janna King himself.
See how well their bottom lane can farm it up. Because, again, it is going to be a CLG looking to make plays around there, while Team Dignitas would just farm in the early game. A couple of bans for top side coming out, though. Looks like both teams whittling down that pool. Shen is still available for now. CLG gets another crack at the top lane, though.
I'm going to be also very interested to see how extreme Adrian wants to go to try to rush this Ardent Sensor. Are they going to be playing with a Relic Shield on Altec? Are they going to be playing with the gold generation runes and masteries, for Adrian? Because there are some strategies you can use to actually really catapult yourself to getting this item so fast.
And Janna's also one of the champions, remember, that can apply the Ardent Sensor to everyone around her with the heals, with the power of her ultimate. And Ardent Sensor, I specifically looked this up the other day because I knew I would quote this number at some time during this cast. If you can apply Ardent Sensor to all 4 of your teammates at once, 310% gold efficiency. It is incredibly strong and incredibly potent in a team fight. Gragas locked in for Team Dignitas. CLG thinking about their 4th pick.
That was one of the things we mentioned in game number 1 there, where the possibility of getting both Gragas and Jarvan provides you with so much flexibility for the top and jungle. One of the big things that we usually don't see in flex picks is differing damage types, and while both of those are kind of bruisers and go for the front line, you can definitely keep your enemies guessing.
CLG blocking in that Orianna. Their mid laner has been chosen. Huhi, we talked about this guy's champion pool, but he's going with one of the big staple mid laners that a lot of different players like to play for its team fight power.
Yeah, and it combos so well with both Rakan and Zac for that engage. They're fantastic ball carriers. It's almost unavoidable to actually get out of the shockwave. If the Rakan is carrying the ball and uses his RW combo, you are CC'd for long enough that you can almost always hit that. It's a very, very powerful initiation.
CLG was one of the first teams to use the big combinations with Rakan and try and wombo teams. It's going to be in combination with the ultimate from Xayah and the large feather pullback. Here we go, though. Final lock-in for Team Dignitas will be the Corki in the mid lane for Keen to try and pressure.
And we also didn't comment on the Camille, locked in for Darshan on the side of CLG. Very, very capable duelist.
It really is, and this is a champion that is going to require a lot of attention, I feel like, from both sides. Because if CLG are able to actually get Darshan ahead, you can take over and really outscale this Jarvan in the 1v1. You can be a split push threat. You can be a turret taking threat. And I mean, for Dignitas, if they can actually put him behind, Camille is very weak in the team fights in comparison to Jarvan.
Yeah, and that along with the Zac that you guys were talking about, that's an abuse target early on in the game because of his inability to defend himself. If this side from CLG starts to fall behind, you could quickly see the Dig Avalanche take over in the mid game, and then maybe they can find that Baron that they normally like to find as their win condition that they weren't able to get last time, that CLG instead got, and just catapulted themselves to an early win.
All right, we'll see if this game is any different. Team Dignitas going to be looking to try and punish Oh My God once again, but will it backfire?
We've also got to track how well Adrian is going to perform on the Janna pick. I think it is so powerful against some of this initiation. And when you talk about wombo combos, when you talk about champions like Zac and Rakan being able to actually get in and land this CC for Orianna to follow up with that shockwave, Well, Janna can reject that with the ultimate. Janna can reject that with her tornado. And she really can do a great job of actually protecting these 80 carries that they have drafted, who then could take over the fight.
And Janna's always been thought of as one of those champions. You think of Zac and you think of what you don't want to run into when you've locked in Zac. The Janna's one of the first things that comes to mind just because of how easily you can shut down the elastic slingshot. It's not a fast-moving ability. The tornado can easily be insta-cast to cancel it. And Omar is going to have to find creative angles to make sure that he gets the drop on these guys, so Adrian cannot utilize this pick to its greatest efficiency.
Even Shrimp on this Gragas, you can actually reject that Zac elastic slingshot with your body slam. You can shoot them out, disengage with your ultimate. If Aphromoo or Zac are trying to go in, if you can knock the backline out. So there's a lot of ways for Dignitas to actually play these fights successfully. I do think that their team fight, unless CLG can get an amazing shockwave, is going to be more powerful. And for CLG, it's more about Darshan finding success in a side break, being able to get those split pushes.
Ooh, nice early grab onto the flash. Taking that away from Adrian, with Aphromoo having that well-placed grand entrance. Altec and Adrian backing themselves away now. But we've been talking about how Dignitas has all these ways to win this game, but let's not forget that in game number 1, it was CLG that looked really clean in the team fights.
As we said before as well, don't forget about the jungle invades. Omar God already trying to defend his territory. Darshan comes over and gets the stun.
Oh, Shrimp's in trouble. 2. Shrimp dropping very rapidly. Over the wall comes Huhi with the blast cone. Flash away from Shrimp. Someday trying to get out of here. Remember, he does not have the flag to use his combo. Aphromoo using the flash. Shrimp going to be taken low. First blood, Huhi.
They're going to get 2.
Might just making a double. And there you go, CLG.
Once again,
this off good.
Dig tried to invade on Omar. This time it backfires even earlier with 2 kills for Counter Logic Gaming.
Aphromoo stayed on the top side. Stixxay needs to play safely down here, but this is an incredible start for CLG, forcing out these summoners, protecting their jungler, and even getting Darshan on this split pusher going.
Now it's up to the bot side for Team Dignitas to try and punish the fact that Aphromoo is not there. You saw Altec try and do it early on. Here's another look at the invade, though. This blast cone does end up costing Shrimp his flash as he tries to get away from the Orion and damage, and there is Aphromoo.
Yeah, Aphromoo roaming up all the way from the bot side. Flash, grand entrance, nails it. The follow-up there from Omar God as well, pulling Someday back in. They're able to gift the kill over to Darshan. This is a picture-perfect start for CLG.
And the timing on that, Omar Flash with just a couple seconds left to use the almost dead body to knock Someday back into his opposing teammate right before they get that kill, and it secures them too. Let's see what they can do with it, though. You talked about Camille, you talked about the possibilities of her snowballing on top side. That extra money is definitely going to go towards the Trinity Force.
Yeah, has the smite, keeps himself alive with it, taking a little bit low there into his own jungle, but CLG doing such a good job in both games this series, and you said it, Azael, protecting Omar God. This is the guy that has been seen as one of the vulnerabilities of CLG, and they're saying we need to work together and make sure he's allowed to succeed. It shows the teamwork of this squad, why they work so well as a 5-man unit, and why they're looking to bring Omar God into the mix and make him a critical part of it.
And it really just feels like it is so much about that teamwork, right? They're picking scaling junglers. They're saying, if we protect you, if we allow you to get farmed, you will pay dividends later. And so far in the series, it has been true.
One of the reasons that opening was so big is now he gets pretty much free time farming his own jungle. And in Team Dignitas bottom lane did punish CLG a little bit for having Aphromoo roaming, but it's only a few CS and nowhere near the actual kills.
Omar just continuing to farm for now. Remember that as Zac levels up, that elastic slingshot becomes much greater in terms of his range. 2v2 here in the bottom lane. Adrian going to be soaking a lot of that pain as Stixxay gets himself exhausted. Bomb also on his head, going to be detonating there, taking him below half HP.
And we also have to remember that the level 1 flash was forced from Adrian, so he actually had to blow his exhaust defensively there. Didn't have the ability to try to outplay any of that CC coming in.
Almost a 1,000 gold lead just from the start that CLG got for themselves over Dignitas.
We do have to remember, though, that CLG has not been able to actually spend that gold up yet. The Soul Laners had not gone back to base until just now. And Darshan is actually investing extremely heavily in lane dominance in early game. His buy is a Doran's Blade and the Corrupting Potion on top of already having that Doran Shield. So this is a ridiculous amount of early game power. He is going to be looking for kills, looking to bully Someday. Otherwise, he really should have been going more for components from the Triforce.
Also keeping track of the jungle, Shrimp did try and invade on that top side. Team Dignitas do have top wards around Darshan, and maybe looking to try and put a stop to that. It's definitely going to be difficult, though. Omar God as well is countering, trying to get some of the farm off of the blue quadrant of Team Dignitas, while their bottom lane does push in.
Someday getting shoved back by Darshan here. Close to his own turret though, so not in a ton of danger just yet. Throwing out the Dragon Strike to weaken those minions a little bit, find some poke on Darshan hopefully as well. Continues to just want to farm up, be useful in the team fights.
Darshan, though, is going to get 6 first. He should be ahead on that experience, so Someday does have to respect that, has to be careful, and knowing that Darshan could be going aggressive.
Yeah, I don't think he has to worry about a solo dive, but you do start to worry about jungler presence when you're in a situation like that. A large wave building like that is exactly the opportunity that some teams will take to send their jungler up and really hammer that matchup home. If you could get a kill there before that teleport cooldown comes up, it would be absolutely disastrous for the top laner. But Omar God's just farming along, and pressure does dissipate.
CLG shoving up bottom side as well. You guys mentioned you wanted to see Dignitas punish that bottom lane, but right now, Stixay and Afrimu are looking comfortable.
They are down there, and as we were talking about on the top side, Someday, even though he wasn't that low, backs off in between halfway down the lane because he's so scared of this jungle pressure and that possible dive to go get his purchase off. Now he's walking back while Darshan slowly increases the CS lead.
I think it's a pretty smart play from Someday, showing that respect not only to the potential of a dive, but also to the power that Darshan has actually purchased up. And the fact that he can go back and complete that phage is going to make him a lot stronger in the 1v1. It's going to have him in a much safer position here, and he's even really only going to lose a bit of XP, but
losing more now.
Yeah,
he's showing a lot of respect towards Darshan having that level 6 available. Omar God getting the drop on the Shrimp here in the jungle.
Afro is actually roaming up here too. CLG is bringing 4 members to the top side.
CLG really wants to find something here in this jungler, in this top lane fight. Having Darshan in there as well means he's able to issue the Hex Tech ultimatum. There's no cask available there for Shrimp. Flashing over the wall, keeping himself alive and safe. CLG now popping out that very nice shockwave, grabbing themselves 2.
Who he able to get 2 for themselves. They get the flash off of Adrian, but he gets out of the stun range.
They can even push up mid lane here. Keen just recently used his teleport, so they could be putting pressure on the turret. In mid lane, Darshan's going to be able to get back up to the top side and collect all this experience, and CLG is really playing this well.
Afrimu constant roams here with this Rakan, something that is highly valued across the world as a playmaking support, and it is definitely showing up here.
One more time, taking a look at the replay of how CLG set it up.
I mean, it's Darshan on the level 6. The ultimatum comes down. Shrimp cannot escape.
He had pushed the wave on top side, then goes for the invade with Omar, with Huhi, and the shockwave is able to suck them back in. They did not expect there to be a ward in this Tri-Brush, or in that Raptor Brush so early on, and Team Dignitas do pay for it.
And it's been the solo laners for CLG all year long, playing so well and stepping up again here in playoffs, working very well in conjunction with Omar God and with Afrimu on these roams.
And I want to go back to that point before we even started game number 1. Kobe, you said Omar and Afro have to work together in this roaming game. They've got to be on the same page, and so far they must have been thinking that exact same thing because they're doing it.
And it looks like with all the wards they've left behind on the top side, it's going to be difficult for Team Dignitas to regain control. Afrimu's playing very far up on the bottom side though.
Finding the grand entrance there onto Altec. Pops the rapid fire, trying to find some more damage now back onto them, using the ultimate as well to knock Stixay away. Launches out the ultimate, throwing down that line of feathers. Won't go any further.
For Dignitas now, it's just going to be about slowing down the pace of the game, calming down, getting your Corki and your Tristana to a point where they can be a threat in a team fight, knowing that you still have this very powerful 5-man composition, but CLG is looking to continue pushing the pace here, setting a trap for Shrimp.
And they saw Shrimp the entire time. Those wards we talked about up on the top side have allowed CLG to set up this play.
Afro's coming up
the
too.
Blast cone. Immediate body slam over the wall from Shrimp to keep himself safe, but his blue buff will not be just that safe. Instead, it's CLG taking this one away.
Again, jungle takeover. What we talked about in the opening of this game remains true. This time around, it's CLG, after the counterplay at the level 1 start, completely taking over the game.
Flash trying to start it off, but Adrian with an absolutely perfect denial.
That was so well done there from Adrian, anticipating, and he denies the flash ultimate engage from Afrimu with a basic ability.
It doesn't make you CC immune when you go into the quickness on Rakan. You're still vulnerable to anything your opponents might have to shut you down, including that basic Janna Q that when fired off at picture-perfect timing can do a lot of work. Afromu now soaking some damage to Baltec and Adrian. Both Dignitas keep themselves afloat here in the bottom lane.
That timing is definitely key to highlight, because that is not a trivial task to pull off. People often make fun of Janna mains and Janna players for just shielding, but Adrian definitely takes it to another level.
Yeah, I mean, you have to anticipate a play like that. It's almost impossible to react to the flash quickness engage. It is almost instantaneous. So Adrian definitely on top of things there.
The almost is the key word, Azael. It's possible, and Adrian made it happen. Team Dignitas is going to need more than a couple of those to put themselves in a good spot.
The shockwave combo!
Oh my god, trying to go in, ball delivery system not quite finding its mark. Keen utilizing the package to keep himself away from that one. Not quite too worried about anything further here. He is losing in CS to his lane counterpart. Top side's actually very even considering the good start that Darshan got and how heavily he invested in towards those laning items. Sumday's doing a great job keeping up.
Yeah, he really is. The problem for Someday is just that he does get naturally outscaled in this 1v1 over time. So he is going to have to look to make plays. He's going to have to try to get something done elsewhere on the map. And now looking to fight up on Darshan.
Darshan taking some damage there from the combo out of Someday. Afromu also hanging around here.
Yep, CLG were the first to roam. They have Afromu and Omar up in the jungle, so they were able to cut off the Dignitas reinforcements. Altec here trying to push on top side, though. They wanted out of this lane. They want out of this early game. And Stixxay is going to be alone on the bottom side to try and answer.
It's going to be so key for CLG. If they can defend 3v4, they have Stixxay getting solo experience here. They're going for the engage.
Afromu starting up the fight. The Let's Bounce comes back, bringing him right back into the fight as Someday's taken down. Darshan grabbing the kill.
What a combo. Again, CLG take advantage here of the fog of war. They attack him under the turret. No recourse there for Team Dignitas. They lose one member right off the bat.
Omar trying to come in, again going to be denied by the tornado, but now Altec, the one soaking a lot of damage there from Darshan. Shrimp trying to come in, make something happen here, not getting the angle he needs. Meanwhile, Stixxay, refiring time onto the bottom lane, tier 1. Grab the turret first blood as well as the solo gold. Omar God jumping into the middle of 3. Altec getting himself away with a rocket jump.
And that's all CLG needed to do. They just needed to delay. They get solo gold and the first turret onto Stixxay. That is going to leapfrog him ahead of Altec.
They did more than that, too. They got the extra kill. Now the teleport
They're
comes
still trying
back
to hold on.
Looking for round number 2.
CLG continue to hold the line here in the top lane. Dignitas try to ram their head into this wall over and over and over again, but it's not getting anywhere.
Yeah, CLG just seemed to be in the right place at the right time. Afromu has been everywhere. They're looking for the engage.
Trying to go here onto Altec, who gets himself away. Flash for flash there. Darshan's for Altec's. That Tristana will now be especially vulnerable. Both summoner spells out of the picture.
And they delay the base timing of the bot lane from Dignitas. Stixxay is already on the top side. This should mean CLG gets another turret up there that may not be able to be answered from Dignitas. They're going to have to try to run back up top and defend.
Yeah, now we have to look at it from Team Dignitas' point of view. And even though Someday was able to push in the bottom side and start to roam up to mid, they just cannot weather the storm. The DPS here going to take its toll on the turret. Teleport comes in. Dignitas looking to counter.
That's a double TP. Keen is coming in as well with Someday.
Dignitas want to end this, try to stop the CLG momentum here. Afromu going to be bursted down first. Team grabbing the kill credit onto that one as Shrimp grabs the kill onto Stixxay. 2 for 0 there for Dignitas. Now looking to finish what they started on that turret.
Dignitas can sweep the Wags out of CLG here and take down this top turret, but how much more can they get back? There is an Ocean Drake on the map, and Darshan has started to push in the bottom.
And they are on this mid turret already. Huhi working away on this down to half HP. Darshan shoving up on that bot side. Dignitas looking like they're going to try to make the rotation over towards the Rift Herald and gain an advantage there.
Teams coming down from the mid lane, but CLG look like they've got the escape.
Dignitas investing quite a lot to make that play happen, but they do get the reward they wanted for it. 2 kills, 1 turret. Brings this gold difference back up to around that 2K mark that it's been at for so long.
Yeah, it was a big investment, but it was so critical that they make that play work because not only do they get the kills, not only do they get the turret, they deny the turret from going down from CLG, and it's a great engagement from Shrimp, the double TP coming in from the solo laners, cleaning up a couple kills. It swings the game really a couple thousand gold different had they not made the play.
Now trying to secure their own blue buff. Looks like CLG's not going to get away with that thievery this time. Keen having the blue on the Corki, very, very important to spam those rockets in a potential upcoming dragon fight. But Stixxay is right back to the same old song and dance up here in topside.
Not only is the topside push, but mid lane as well.
Afro trying to make the play here. Instead, it's going to be Keen who's dunked by Darshan. The killing spree for the CLG top laner.
So important to highlight the multiple forms of engagement from Counter Logic Gaming. Even though Keen is able to evade one, Orianna Shockwave still able to land and pull it back into range for Darshan. That allows them to continue to press up mid.
And Hui has been so good at finding those max range shockwaves. Stixxay still pushing on the top side, will get that turret, and they will get the tier 2 mid. They can retreat over to the Rift Herald. CLG taking full control of the top side of Dignitas' jungle.
Not a lot of respect there given to the ball placement, and definitely pays the price. Red buff is going to go down. It seems like Counter Logic Gaming have full run of Summoner's Rift.
Absolutely beautiful job by CLG this game. The micro, the macro, everything is going their way. So now they move towards this Rift Herald pit, trying to see what they can do here. Dignitas has got to find a way back into this game.
And one way for them back into the game is the fact that Adrian now, he did rush his Ardent, he's rushing towards his Ardent Sensor. When he does complete that, and some items come in for Altec, some items come in from Keen, he is going to power up these AD carries so heavily, and they are going to have the front line in front of them, so if they can actually get CLG into a 5-man fight, despite the fact that Darshan is ahead on Camille, Camille succeeds more in the 1v1s than the 5v5. So there is ways for Dignitas to slow this down, get to their item completions, and come back.
And right now, they're actually collapsing on the Rift Herald to try and take this one away from CLG. Darshan doesn't have teleport, so if CLG wanted to do anything about it, it would be a 4-on-5. And they should probably just go ahead and exchange this Rift Herald for the Ocean Drake that's on the map. But Team Dignitas happy to get some sort of momentum back for themselves. Gonna have to put a stop to this split push first.
And let's remember when Dignitas was up against Cloud9 in the quarterfinals, there were games in there where Cloud9 was significantly far ahead, and then Dignitas comes back and wins, being down a couple thousand gold in the early game. Even as significant as 5,000 gold is not necessarily the death knell for this team, but CLG has done a great job building that advantage so far.
They're going to have to continue to push the pace. They're going to have to find ways for Darshan to get into those side lanes, to find isolated 1v1s against Someday, and for their 4-man squad to really continue to maintain vision, because that is how they're going to be able to make these picks, and that is how they're going to be successful.
CLG with the 6-2 kill lead, the 4-1 turret lead, the 1-0 Drake lead. Absolutely any metric you want to measure this game by, CLG is currently ahead, largely due to their team play, but also due to just each individual stepping up and performing so well. 100% kill participation on both Darshan and Afromu. These two have been doing a lot of work together. And let's go ahead and jump back to Champion Select. We talked about the Camille. We talked about how this pick had to snowball, how it needed to do well so it could have that 1-versus-1 pressure. I don't know about you guys, but 3-0-3 is a really good way to be in 17 minutes, if you ask me.
Yeah, completely agree. For Someday, it's going to be more about avoiding the actual committed fight, just clearing the waves. But CLG trying to force it down upon them. They are at the turret already.
But now the counterattack from Dignitas. Someday jumping in with the Cataclysm. Flag and drag back out. Finds a little bit of damage onto Afromu and Huhi. Shield out from Adrian there onto the turret, trying to keep it protected. Dignitas does not want to give up turret number 5. Shockwave only finding its way onto Shrimp. Pretty big cooldown to have gone. Someday throws out the flag. The engage is not going to follow it up.
And remember, even with all those kills for Darshan and him being the split pusher, and there are a lot of scaling things to worry about with Camille, Huhi is the most fed member on Counter Logic Gaming. He has almost 8,000 gold on this Orianna with a 195 CS from the mid lane. And it's been so big when Team Dignitas did not pay attention to the placement of this Orianna ball. Those shockwaves have definitely been a huge part of how CLG have gotten to where they are. So they're happy grouping up once again and just kind of playing behind the one tank of Omar.
And it would be such a huge part of any team fight win they would get, even on an even scale, right? Even if Dignitas can get their AD carries to that big point, they're going to need an incredible shockwave from Hui. He has ways to deliver that in with the Recom, with the Zac. We'll see if he's going to be able to do that, because he's already on 2 spell pen items. He's at this very strong early point. When he completes the injuries, he's going to be a monster.
And not only is he ahead in this game specifically, but this is the player on CLG that a lot of people this split have been looking at and saying, this guy's performing the best out of anybody on the roster. Even in their previous matches up against Immortals, when the rest of the team was falling short and stumbling a bit, Huhi was the one who was putting on a really fantastic performance.
Huhi has come a long way as far as consistency is concerned. He's always been one to look for big plays. But this year, he has also been fairly consistent for the team. Now, the split push is taking effect, though. Darshan's got his wave up to the bottom turret, and CLG are starting to take vision control around Baron.
It also has been very interesting to watch the development of Dignitas throughout this split, right? This is a team that has not had a lot of playoff success in quite some time, but they have pieced together this team, especially with Altec and Adrian coming in. This team looks so strong down the stretch. People didn't know quite how far they could go. Would they be able to best these very top teams? And they are, a bit of a lower seed coming into playoffs. They're going up against CLG, who was the third place seed. And people are calling Dignitas the favorites because of how well they performed down the stretch.
And the whole regular split, like you're talking about, it was a journey. It was a roller coaster. They started off, I believe, 5-1 the first 3 weeks. Yeah, 5-1 to 5-5, and then they come back up at the end of the split. And this is a team that has just been through so many ups and downs. Now looking to find that last up here against CLG.
Darshan gonna dispatch Shelly really quickly there on the bottom side, and it forces the hand of Team Dignitas to go!
But now they're going. Huhi gonna be caught out there, but Afrobu with the counterattack. Nice shockwave gonna be finding its way onto Eden, who has to get himself right back out of the fight. Someday taken down. Altec jumping back. Dignitas trying now to retreat. They've got a 4 versus 5, and one of those 4 is nearly dead. Darshan trying to find a way back in there. Hextech ultimatum ready to be issued if he can find a vulnerable target. Red buff alive. Dignitas trying to grab that one for themselves as they make the retreat. That will go over to Altec, but CLG continues pushing up. They've got priority mid.
Yeah, they have the inside path towards this inhibitor turret, and they're going to be on the inhibitor turret. Well, Keen is going back to base, trying to heal up. He may have the package available. Looks like he's going to be coming out of base very quickly here. We'll see if Dignitas tries to fight.
Cass going to separate the team. Afro Moon nearly finding himself killed. The bomb ticking. Afro getting himself shielded to stay alive. Dignitas wants this counterattack. They need to punish CLG. The teleport coming from behind on Someday. Keen packaging in, looking to make the moves. Afro Moon going to be zoned away. Huhi now taken down to about half HP. Featherstorm comes out. Blade Caller going to be bringing him right back. Dignitas still looking for this fight. CLG at half HP. Darshan disengaging. The rest of CLG also walking away. Very well done to survive that attack.
There are minions for CLG on the bottom side turret there as well. Still working away. Someday actually has been sent already over there, so now it's a 4v5.
Huhi's got the shockwave back up as well. Shrimp trying to body slam back into the fight to evade the Hextech ultimatum. The damage coming down onto Omar God. The shockwave is jumped away from by Altec.
Altec able to buffer his rocket jump, already got the animation off, and does still jump even though he's stunned on the other side. That saves his life, but it also allows Omar to get out with passive intact.
Yeah, but they are going to get some time to reset these waves. Dignitas now will have mid lane priority. They can get some vision around Baron. They're resetting the wave on the bot side. Remember, Darshan does not have his teleport, and he is going to have to go down bottom to answer this and try to get the waves pushing back the way of CLG.
CLG continuing to find advantages for themselves, even though Dignitas is putting up one hell of a fight. Nearly 6,000 gold up now for CLG. No Baron taken yet. It was taken at this point in game number 1, so not quite as quickly of an acceleration of the game this time around. Dignitas playing careful enough to avoid that happening.
And it's going to be even more devastating if CLG is able to get that Baron and enable split pushers like the Camille so heavily, because all of a sudden Someday won't be able to clear those waves. And that's why he's grouped with the team. It's why they're looking to start fights, because they favor their chances in the 5v5.
Even so, that little skirmish was so close. Omar God got down to 8 health. Away from his passive being popped there.
More than one.
By Altec.
Very, very close health bars on both sides in that last fight. I mean, it went on long enough for there to be 2 shockwaves at the beginning and end of it. Minions, as well as that Camille, pushing up in the bottom lane now. Dig gonna have to answer that one as CLG maintains control over the mid lane, and they will still have control over Baron as well.
And Someday is down there to answer Darshan, but he does not want to fight. Just hit 13, so he's down over a full level to Darshan of experience, plus behind on the gold here also, and CLG going to be able to go back up to the top side of the river, reclaim the Baron vision, get the waves pushing their way. This is definitely a very tense moment for Dignitas. They know if they can hold on, if they can scale up their AD carries, they can win in team fights, but it's a long ways to go.
It's a long ways to go, and it's also difficult for them to try and deal with these pink wards that CLG have kept inside the Baron pit and in the Baron River up on this top side. You have to be so scared. We've already seen the long range engages of Omar God and Afromu. Even though they're disengaged tools with the Janna, with the Gragas, there are multiple ones you have to worry about coming from CLG. And if those are coming from Fog of War, it makes them very difficult to react to.
And Dignitas are only going to have the one blue trinket remaining to actually spot out any Baron attempts coming up. And the one from Altec was already used, so Keen will be kind of their lone way to see if CLG has started that Baron from a long distance.
I mean, look at how dark this mini-map is on the side of Team Dignitas.
On it, as you can see from those animations, but Dignitas has no idea. Now they spot it with the blue trinket. Will they look for the engage? Remember, Darshan is coming from behind.
Baron still doing a little bit of damage to the CLG members. Someday waiting off in the wings in case he needs to flank. CLG's Baron attempt is going to be stopped for now. Dignitas looking for the opportunity to do something, recognizing they cannot give over this crucial objective.
Something that's saving Team Dignitas here from kind of the classic just leave the Camille on the bottom side and have her slowly whittle the turret down is that they've got Someday on a damage-dealing champion. This is not a pure tank Jarvan. So Camille can't just walk up to the turret and start hitting it if Someday is there, because he'll actually be able to chase her off. But we'll see how long his defense can't last. Omar now going to go in.
Omar going in. Nice jump away by Altec. Tornado also coming out from Adrian. CLG continuing to try to find these opportunities to get in there, but just like we mentioned when that Janna was locked in during Champion Select, Adrian has been on point with these denials, keeping the team safe, stopping those different engage mechanisms, whether it's Omar or Afromu trying to start the fights. It's up to Adrian to be that red light.
The top laners now do have their teleports back, so they can look for flanks, they can look to actually force fights, but that is a very expensive summoner to use, because if Darshan or Someday actually look for that TP and fail, it's going to open up lane priority for the opposite team.
And you can see CLG don't want to let up on their side lane pressure there. They continue to send Darshan back down to keep the minions pressed up at the turret. Even though they don't have wards in the jungle here to see any of the transitions, they want to use the minions kind of as their temporary wards, push up, get some vision, and force Someday to show himself on that defense.
Trinity Force, Static Shiv done now for Keen. Plenty of damage coming out from that Corki. Infinity Edge Shiv also done for Altec's Tristana. The items on the side of CLG are no slouch either. With that Leandries, Morello Namicon, now another Blasting Wand done for Huhi. You mentioned before how he was the biggest threat on the side of CLG. I don't believe that has changed.
Yeah, I mean, Huhi actually hitting 3 items now with the Void Staff, going to be able to punch through any MR that has been purchased. Not really a much has been actually picked up yet by Dignitas, but as they do itemize into it, he's going to be crushing.
Fight starting off. Altec going to be issued the Hex Tech ultimatum. Darshan having to get himself back. The damage coming through, nearly able to take him down. Not quite. The escape is there as Dignitas is bounced right back into the back lines. The shockwave and the execution from Saya will find their way onto Altec as Keen retreats. CLG now on the full-blown chase. Flash over the wall from Keen, keeping himself alive. Dignitas running away towards the bottom part of the map, but Baron is up.
That should definitely be the Baron for CLG. They can collapse on it. As you said, Darshan also has TP, so the options for flanking down on the bottom side are still there. Team Dignitas looks like they might actually come check this.
This is going to be so big for Dignitas. They need to get over there. Shrimp has no vision, but he's coming in with Smite available. No flash.
Wants to try to get in there, deny this Baron from CLG. Darshan on a rampage, Shrimp over the wall, but it's not enough. Huhi with the killing spree. And CLG with 2 more kills in their pockets. Baron under their belt. This team is frightening.
Such a good Baron take there from CLG. They have the patience. They know Shrimp has no flash. They wait for him to try to come in, peel off the Baron, take him out, and you've got to give so much credit, though, from that team fight to Afromu, peeling everyone off of Darshan when it looked like he was certain to go down. Afromu has been coming up big, making the plays that built his legacy in the North American LCS.
Definitely a huge moment for him, and now it's a huge moment for the team with Baron buff and the mid turret so low. CLG very, very close to working inside Team Dignitas' base.
CLG is just at such a strong point, too. With the crits coming in now for 6A, with his IE completed, he's going to be able to punch through frontline. They can play these fights in a lot more different ways because they have such high amounts of damage coming in from the sides. And let's watch this one more time. Darshan coming in for the flank, but as he gets low, follow Afromu in this play.
multiple angles of engagement once again from Counter Logic Gaming. Darshan flashes out, tumbles out. Afromu gets the chain CC on both Shrimp and Someday to allow Darshan to crawl out of the Cataclysm. And then again, another giant shockwave. This one finds the carry in the backside, and Stixxay gets the execution.
And the presence of mind from Afromu to actually use that combo on the front line, on the tanks, to save his own top laner instead of just going for one of those AD carries was very impressive.
That's what you like to see from these playmakers, the ability to not only go on the offense, but make the clutch defensive saves as well. That versatility is the difference between a good player and a great player, and Afromu showing why he is one of those greats, why he has been such a popular name in the NALCS. As CLG now looks to push into the base of Dignitas and find their second win here, take this series to match point for themselves. They still have an inhibitor line to break, but they're looking like they want to make short work of that. Darshan in the top side now, up against Someday and Keen. Tries to get himself away, going to be Cataclysm to keep himself in there. Hextech automation is issued, but the damage is enough. Huhi grabbing the red inhibitor bottom side in the meantime. It's a kill for an inhib. CLG will take that.
Looked like Darshan failed his jump there over the side of the Cataclysm, and Team Dignitas are able to get the counter kill. That might put a stop to some of the pressure, but with that all being said, that commitment of people up top for Team Dignitas did cost them the inhibitor.
And we'll see if CLG wants to stay around. They have TP on Darshan when he does res, so he can actually join the fight. And this mid lane inhibitor turret is very, very low. CLG would love to try to knock down a second.
If they can do it, they're going to turn this game into an extreme difficulty for Dignitas to try to come back from. It's already very, very troublesome, but if you can take down 2 inhibs, that means you get to siege up in that third remaining lane and make the job almost impossible for your opponents to defend. They have nearly a 10,000 gold lead to work with as well now, closer to 8,500 gold if we're going point for point. Keen securing his team's own red buff. He's got package too, so keep that in mind for the next fight.
Omar stole that away.
Difference maker. Omar, God, nice steal.
Yeah, just denying that from Keen is going to be very helpful, taking any team fight power away from these AD carries, because that is the way that Dignitas has to get back into the game. All the eggs are in the AD carry basket. Here's the play again. It looked like his jump actually did come back and stun Someday, so I do believe he actually failed that combo getting out, but at the same time, CLG knocked down the turret.
And you talk about the way the series is going, Captain Flowers. This has, you know, implications for the Gauntlet as well, as not only is this going to determine seeding for the Gauntlet, but these two teams will probably be playing each other if one of them can beat FlyQuest. And with the way that CLG are handling this series so far, it should give them a ton of confidence moving forward.
And we're not talking about something somewhere in the distant future. This is going to be happening the following week. The Gauntlet is coming up very, very quickly on us. So if you lose to this team in such a swift manner like this, and then you have to play against them the next week, there's a lot that you're going to have to fix.
It becomes very difficult to actually maintain confidence moving into that. And it builds so much confidence for the team that does come out on top, because they already know they would have C9 waiting for them in that finals.
And I think the most important player that would be applicable to would be Omar God. This guy who has been the center of a lot of the criticism for CLG as they've been trying to bring him up to speed with the rest of the team. This maybe looks like his most cohesive series all year for the team, playing on that front line.
Here we go, CLG trying to break into the second inhibitor. Someday coming around from the side, but there's that crit damage from Stixxay y'all were talking about. Someday nearly taken down, and that is the signal for CLG to go onto the inhibitor now. They'll find themselves burning that away rather quickly. Dignitas no way to defend that without their front line healthy enough. And CLG has found themselves inhibitor number 2, now moving everybody up to that third and final lane.
CLG has been playing this series so cleanly. They will have to be careful. There is still ways for Dignitas to come back in, but they are looking like they can close this one out pretty quickly with 4 completed items. That's 2 more items completed than he has on these mid laners alone. Huhi has been so ridiculously dominant. One shockwave could be the end of the game.
All right, Team Dignitas are going to have to look for something very quickly. Time is working against them as the super minions flood into the base. Can they pull off the play?
This is going to be the hero moment. Cass going to be knocking him forward, but CLG is still safe. Oh my God, finding the let's bounce onto nothing. Someday off to the side, keeping Darshan away, preventing him from finding a flank of his own. But with that initiation potential down, Shrimp's flash and ulti are away, and CLG has come to the top lane, waiting on this next wave, and that should be where they go.
The question is, can Someday actually find Huhi? The shockwave whiffs, and Huhi has no summoners, so Someday could actually look for an engage there, and this may prompt CLG to just back off.
All right, so he's like, okay, we pressed the button at the wrong time. Everybody go home. We'll try it again here in about 60 seconds.
I mean, you can't blame them too much for fishing for those plays, right?
Yeah.
So many of them, it seems like, Dig have had a decently difficult time keeping track of that ball. So throws one out there. Adrian, though, wide awake and able to dodge away. So that will put a stop to CLG Siege for now. But 2 inhibitors down, though, they should return right back to the field. 30 seconds on Baron, 22 on Elder Dragon. So the options are plenty here for CLG to try and collapse onto Dignitas.
And just to put the difference between the economy of these two teams in mind, but it looks like we won't have a chance. Afro Moon looking to go in, able to find the initiation onto Keen. Shrimp and Adrian grabbing the rampage for his mid laner. Shrimp now going to be focused down next. The damage out onto Keen. Stixxay grabbing the kill onto him. Jump from Alltech, trying to escape. Afro Move healing himself back in time. Shrimp taken down below half HP. He is not going to be tanky enough. One more hit will do it. Stixxay on a killing spree. Alltech falling to Darshan. Someday barely skating away. Darshan will not allow the escape from Alltech. And that is game number 2. CLG making a statement at the TD Garden.
All that's left are the Nexus turrets as they take... Oh, someday it might even be next!
Might as well pad the stats a little bit harder. The Guardian Angel pop on the steps to safety. Someday trying to get away. The Fountain Laser having a bit of a word with CLG about going any further, but they do not need to. GG, game 2.
CLG gonna push the match point here in the 3rd place match. Looking so strong against Dignitas. People were predicting this to be a 3-0, a 3-1 for Dignitas, and CLG are not gonna be going quietly into the night. They are looking to take a dominant series.
Emphatic statement here from Counter Logic Gaming. Game number 2 over almost as quickly as game number 1 was. Constant engagements, extremely crisp team fighting there, and a lot of picks for Counter Logic Gaming. It's not even looking like a close series so far.
And back to what you talked about at the beginning of this, Kobe, it was on the solo laners. That's where everyone's eyes were for CLG, saying these are the guys that have been stepping up. Everybody else has been fumbling a bit. Omar got in that game 2-0-8. Stixxay 3-1-3, Afromu 0-1-13. These members who were struggling earlier on in the playoffs have shown up today.
And you've got to say that so much of it has come down to the preparation and the early game play from CLG, being able to deny these invasions onto Omar God, being able to deny Dignitas, putting him behind. And I mean, the level 1 for Dignitas in game number 2 was catastrophic. They lost Flash on Janna, they lose 2 kills, they lose multiple summoners on topside as well. These early games are just going so poorly for Dig.
Yeah, you can definitely see why they're going with this strategy, though. There are many games that we've seen Omar attacked and CLG punished in the jungle, but seemingly CLG have learned from those previous playoff games, and they've come out stronger for it.
And it's great to see a team adapt and cover their weaknesses like that. Now let's send it over to the analysts to get their thoughts on the CLG 2-0 lead.
Thank you very much, Captain Flowers. A commanding 2-0 lead for CLG here. And gentlemen, this is my disappointed face. Disappointed in the two of you for the way that your predictions are looking right now.
Listen, we've learned that CLG is fueled by doubt.
As much as it's a faith meme.
Last week, Mark Z said CLG would win. What happened?
Destroyed.
When both of us say Dig will win, of course CLG decides to show up and start playing like a team again.
The only reason.
It
had nothing to do with the way that the game broke down in the early game. Before we get into some of the craziness that unfolded in the early minutes of this game, I want to take a look at Champion Select once again, see what these teams drafted for themselves as they swapped sides here. Dignitas on red, once again, getting that Jarvan up in the top lane, Gragas in the jungle, double ADC, and then the patented Janna there for Adrian, looking for protect the ADC kind of composition here. Did not work out for them.
It's not a bad comp for Dignitas at all, but one of the things I think is they're not a great red side team just because Keen is not able to effectively utilize counter picks. And we saw this in the TSM series that they didn't do anything on red side. They actually preferred blue then. And here, once again, despite taking the Corki counter pick, yes, a lot of things went wrong in the early game, but by level 6-7 was already starting to get out CS and out pressured by the Orianna.
Yeah, and a Janna double AD carry team wants to be able to get ahead in lanes, set up shop, and then Janna ult away when people try and initiate. But there was disaster very early on in this game.
Disaster is a good word for it. We're going to go ahead and jump into a 140 into the game. A 2-for-0 in favor of CLG in the river, responding at level 1. Acer Predator replay.
And it's just one of those things where Dignitas is trying to do a little bit too much here. I'd love to see an early game where they're actually even in gold, but once again, they go for this kind of invade onto Omar God, but CLG collapses first.
Yeah, and you can see CLG's adaptation from last week, or even earlier in the playoffs when Omar was getting bullied down on Zach. Now when teams are trying to mess with his jungle, CLG is willing to collapse. Multiple flashes expended, early game ignite expended to give them that double kill and another leg up for Omar in the early game.
And this is huge for CLG just because they definitely prefer playing around their top half of the map. And this is the great start to the game where instantly your top half of the map starts winning and they are able to continue pushing that lead on that side.
Speaking of the top half of the map, 7 minutes into the game, we got an invade on the red buff from CLG, so utilizing those advantages that they've built up to further extend their gold lead.
Yeah, and there's two things going on in this play. CLG has a lot of early wards in the Dig jungle, but also Shrimp is just playing poorly. He flashes away and then walks back into a shockwave instead of retreating to his base. Keen also trying to make a play in a 4v3. What are you doing? There's no way that play turns positive for Team Dignitas. So CLG earned control of that jungle. Dignitas gave them the 2 kills.
Yeah, definitely some questionable decision-making in that play itself, not respecting, you know, kind of the advantages and the work that CLG had done to buy themselves that fight, right? You mentioned the ward coverage. They already controlled that side of the jungle entirely, and that kind of continued to snowball throughout the game. We moved to 1140. CLG matching the Dignitas rotation. To Dig's credit, they tried to get out of some bad situations.
And you can just see how far ahead that top half of the map is, though, with Darshan, Omar God, and Aframu being able to defend 4v3. If they didn't get these early kills, if they didn't get the summoner advantages and those kinds of things, that kind of play is extremely risky to go for, and one that could potentially lose you the game. But they're able to convert on it here. It stalls out, so they're able to grab the first turret. They're grabbing kills. They're making Dignitas share XP when they don't want to, and just continuing to kind of push this advantage, all due to the stronger top half of the map.
Yeah, the early game for the first 15 minutes was very well controlled by CLG. They were making Team Dignitas choose all of these bad things that they didn't want to play for. So yeah, Dig wants to go and make that turret, but they actually had no answer for the Rakan down to the bottom side, or the Xayah rather.
Right, yeah, exactly. They weren't necessarily doing the kind of work that they wanted to do in the bot lane with the Janna against the Rakan, so they swap out of it, say, hey, maybe we can accelerate the game with some turret takes. CLG responds in kind, matches that pressure, even gets an advantage out of it with a turret to 0 and a couple kills.
Yeah, and I think Dignitas is still able to find some big 5v5 plays. A little bit later after that play, CLG is trying to push up around that top side. Dignitas makes a nice 5-man play to get the double TP and a double kill, but they're always working from a deficit. Anytime Dignitas makes a good play, it's usually to get back in the game or to stall the game out a little bit more. They're never actually able to convert these into advantages from the get-go. So I think they really need to find a way to stop instantly losing the game in the first 10, 15 minutes.
At the beginning of the day, we talked about 2 key members in this matchup are the junglers from both sides, right? Omar God, who hadn't been performing up to this point. Shrimp, who had stepped up so far in the playoffs. Now up against each other 2 games through. Both victories going over to CLG. What's your guys' report card here mid-series for them?
So far, this is the best we have seen Omar God play in the LCS, and it's on the biggest stage he's played on, which is very impressive feat. And I think it's one of the worst 2 games in a row we've seen from Shrimp. It is more than just the junglers, obviously. These are heavy invades coming in for both of these guys, but being able to make the invade call or actually back away when you are getting invaded is a very valuable skill, and that's something Shrimp hasn't been able to do. He hasn't been able to back down when necessary, and that's just propelling CLG further ahead.
Now, you mentioned the fact that, you know, teams have targeted Omar God, especially very early on in the jungle with invades like what we've seen out of Dignitas. You think it's time here with you back against the wall, needing to win 3 in a row, to abandon that strategy and say, hey, let's give Omar God some space in the jungle and try and make plays elsewhere on the map?
I think that's a good thing to look at. I mean, we've seen them be successful with things like Nunu before. Perhaps you take that kind of slower jungler style, continue to let your bot lane be the focus of your overall game plan, and then hopefully transition into a mid game where we know that Dignitas can perform around the Baron, but so far, come 20 minutes, they're already on the back foot every time.
CLG with side selection, move back to red here. So what's our thoughts on champion select and how it might develop in game 3?
I think that's smart. I think they give a power pick to Huhi, even though he's eating so many bans, and then they're going to struggle to find a keen counter pick. This would be a time to pull out an Azir if it's something crazy.
All right, so again, with that 2-0 lead from CLG, tell me how Dignitas puts 3 victories back-to-back-to-back here to extend us to a 5th game and ultimately a victory for themselves.
Dash, there has been an epidemic of reverse sweeps in the past couple of weeks. It happened in the LCK playoffs, it happened in the LPL final, it happened in the LCK regional qualifier.
So it's just a given?
It's just a given that you can have a reverse sweep. But really, I am very concerned for Team Dignitas here because CLG is now playing like the team that we kept saying they were going to turn into.
Right.
And the stage does feel a little bit too big for them right now. Shrimp and Keen and even Altec are not performing the way they were for the last month and a half of the regular season. So if they are to get back to it, it always starts with the early game. We haven't actually seen an even gold mid-game for this Team Dignitas.
Right, and it starts right here in Game 3 if Dignitas won it. We're going to step away, but this is Team Dignitas' last chance to pick up a win in front of this amazing Boston crowd. See if they can fight back in Game 3 versus Counterlogic Gaming. Don't touch that browser.
Someday trying to get out of here. Remember, he does not have the flag to use his combo. Afromu uses the flash shrimp, gonna be taken low. First blood, Hooey. They're gonna get two. Just making a double, and there you go, CLG.
I'm ulting. I'm gonna ward boss side. Back to the bush. Get it. Nice. Nice. Yeah, you can go. Get splash. Nice shit.
Trying to stop the CLG momentum here. Afromu gonna be bursted down first. Team grabbing the kill credit onto that one as Shrimp grabs the kill on the stick save. The damage coming through, nearly able to take him down. Not quite, the escape is there. And Dignitas is bounced right back into the back lines. The shockwave and the execution from Zaya.
I got him. Yeah. I really just. He push.
I have shield for you. You can keep going.
Yeah, that's what it was. Let's go, dude.